Hello, I want to start off today just by saying welcome to anybody that's new that hasn't seen any of our videos before, and to thank returning viewers for taking the time out to watch this content. I really appreciate it and I hope you enjoy it. In this video I'm going to be talking about my progress with the Polypay breed study, and I'm going to just dive right in. So there's a couple things to tell you. Number one is I've created a spreadsheet, which is kind of my thing. It's going to help me to break apart the fiber into the different groups for the different ways I want to process it and use the wool. So I took out a small piece of this to be micron tested, and so what's left here is this washed fiber. So I've weighed this and it was 32.4 grams, and then I have to break it up into 4 different piles of wool. The first one is for dyeing, and I've just said I'm going to dye 3 grams of fiber. That'll leave me then with 9.8 grams for each prep I want to do, which is flicking, combing, and carding. And then the spreadsheet breaks it down. It's going to also take a record for the combing and the flicking of how much waste came out, and I'll weigh that. And then whatever's left, whatever weight is left, will then get either spun on the spindle or spun on the wheel. And I've got that split up into the 2 weights for the plying, so that I only spin up as much as I need for each ply. And then what I'm going to do is the yarn that I spin on the wheel, I'm going to use that for knitting. So I'm going to make a little square or whatever. The combed fiber that I spin on the spindle, I'm going to use that to weave with. So that'll be another segment, me playing around with the loom. The stuff that I hand card into Rolex, so that's going to get spun on the wheel. I'm going to spin that woolen. And then I'm going to take that fiber, 2-ply it, and then crochet a swatch with that. So that's one thing I created. I spent a little bit of time on that this week. So yeah, so here's my washed fiber. So another thing I've came up with, I'm going to be using these horrible, wretched, abominable plastic containers from takeout or baked goods that we get at the store. And that's where I'm going to put the different fiber preps. So I'm going to weigh out 9.8 grams. And this one is designated for the fiber I want to comb. So this is my little digital scale. Okay, so it's at 0, which is good. So it's now at 29.6, but that's because I took out 3 grams for the dyeing. So for this 29.6 or whatever, I need to come up with 9.8 grams, and I'm going to put that in my little container here to be combed. 6.2, 8, 8.6. I'm being very cautious. 9.9. 9.6. All right, so that's good enough. So 9.9, that's going to go into my container that I have labeled comb, and I will comb this. I'm such a dork, I know. Okay, then another section of 9.8. That's 8.3. Okay, yeah, that is going to work out. Seems like this was a lot more. 9.1. 9.9 again. And then this one is 9.8. Okay. Now I'm going to put this in my flicking container. And I picked this one because the locks are a little bit more intact. This one got a little bit fluffy, so I'll just use that on the hand cards to do the woolen prep, the roll eggs. Throwing out a lot of words. Alright, so there's the flicked stuff. And this is the stuff I'm going to prep with my hand cards. And then here's the 3 grams for the dyeing. It's just a small amount here. 2.9, close enough. And I'm going to be using Kool-Aid. I bought some orange Kool-Aid unsweetened. I got some information from my friend Kim at Fiber Fun on how to use the microwave with a Ziploc bag, so I wanted to keep it really simple. So I'll do a video next week where I start with some white Corriedale I have just to experiment and figure out how much exactly of the powder I need to use to dye such a small amount of fiber. So that'll be it coming up. Alright, so there you go. I got the wool for carding, using the combs, flicking, and combing. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to get to work on prepping these. So that'll be the next step. I'll talk a little bit about the tools I'm going to be using. So the flicking tools I used is my Majacraft flicker. I really like this flicker. The tines are in there so well. It's just really well made. I've used other flickers and the tines get really loose and wobbly and they break off and stuff, and this one is just really great. And I like the handle design. So this is what I'm going to use for flicking. For combing, I have 2 pitch mini combs that are also Majacraft. Because it's such a small quantity, I'm not going to deal with the bench clamp. So I'll be using these. And one of the benefits of using the combs, I just realized as I was cleaning all these before I made the video, is it's easy to clean these. Those hand carders, which these are the ones I'm going to be using, you really got to clean them really well because everything that you take off of the hand cards you're going to spin with, there's no waste, whereas with the combs there's a good amount of waste. The 2 pitch is for finer wools, but we'll see. I mean, well, maybe I'll observe that this isn't going to work if I use it on the Polypay. The Polypay, the samples I have, I don't see those as being super fine. I think they're more in the high 20s, low 30s. And then yeah, so I got the hand cards here. I've had these. These are my first cards I ever bought. They're Ashford. They're a little heavy, and I used them at first, not realizing that the prep you get with hand cards isn't really what I liked to spin. It's more you're going to make roll eggs and then spin in a woolen technique. And then yeah, the other thing, you really got to get them clean from prior preps because that'll get into your spinning. And then with the Shetland, obviously I've got all the different colors, so I was carding black wool on this, and now I'm going to go to white wool, so I really had to get in there with the knitting needle to get out everything. Majacraft does have hand cards. I just can't keep them in stock long enough for me to get my own set, so I've got a massive order of hand cards in. Hopefully that'll stay in inventory, and then I'll be able to use those. They're a lot lighter than traditional hand cards. So those are the 3 tools I'll be using in my fiber prep of the different breeds I'm doing. So this is the fiber I'm going to be flicking. am noticing a few of these little, I don't know if they're second cuts or just little neps that are coming out. And that's probably, I mean, that has nothing to do with the breed, right? That's shearing. There's my lock, quite a bit longer. And the waist. Be interesting. I'm really interested to see where I end up with the amount of waste between combing and flicking, because I'm always under the assumption that combing yields the most waste. So we're going to find out. And I don't know that I comb perfectly. My technique isn't probably the best. All right, so that's the flicking. And again, we're saving all the waste because I'm going to weigh that at the end when I get that all finished. I should have used a bigger container for this. Okay, carding. Cards. I don't need the leather. I'll just leave it on here. So yeah, like I said before, with the hand cards, you don't have waste. So you really want to make sure that whatever you put on the cards is what you want in your wool, or, you know, plan on cleaning your wool as you spin, which I hate doing. I find that extremely tedious. I like to rip off the tips instead of cutting them because I feel like I don't pull off as much. I'm really only pulling off the dead, broken bits. So yeah, so if there is any little second cuts or anything, they're in there. I don't use this type of prep ever. Right now I'm doing one fleece, a black fleece like this, just because it's really short. So I can't flick it, so I'm spinning a woolen prep with that. I like how the ends get kind of bumpy and lumpy. So this is really how I do it. I don't make roll eggs. I'll just take this and you don't want your fibers lined up when you're doing the woolen long dry. You want it kind of jumbled up like this. So there's that for the carding. And there's the combs. It's fairly early on Sunday morning here. I still have to go outside and feed the animals. It is April 10th and it's snowing outside. So this is normally here in Western New York, we'll get a snowfall mid-April. And I think this might be it. And then I think we're done with snow. Until October. Yeah, see, I don't have great technique here. Keeps on getting on there. Go side to side, maybe I'll do better. So this is how I just will kind of go side to side. Nest number 1. Accompanying waist. Probably could have got something out of that one. I'm going to put that back on. Ouch. One of the things about the Majacraft combs that's good is that these tines aren't super sharp. So like what I just did, probably on some other combs you would have gotten a little pinprick, but with these it's just a little ow. Waist there. I feel like combing is kind of a violent process. Even like when you put the wool on the combs, they call it lashing. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a little harsh. Okay, there's my waist. Yep, I would say that's a legitimate waist. All right, so those are the 3 methods. So I'm going to finish up with that, and then we will get spinning.